you.
Hello, Sir Joseph. Good morning. How are you?
Watch your step, welcome.
Hello.
Watch your step, enjoy the tour. Watch your step on the ramp, welcome aboard.
Live. Good morning.
Watch your step, welcome.
I'm doing live. My phone is already full storage. Aray ko. So, ganyan na lang. So, I'm just gonna doing this one.
Watch your step, welcome aboard.
I can save all the videos, so that's why I'm just keeping it on my live. Hello, everyone.
Watch your step on the ramp, welcome.
Das war jetzt tagsüber. Das krass, dass wir das solche Touren wirklich nur zum eher abends machen.
Watch your
Ja,
step,
stimmt.
welcome.
Ja. Ich dachte schon, dass wir so voll anders. Ja, ein Glück aber.
I don't want to. I don't want to. Watch your step. Thank you. Watch your step on the ramp, welcome
Hello,
aboard.
everyone.
Das ist nicht aufhören.
Full
Watch
storage.
your step, welcome.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Hello, shout out 19 viewers. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello, shout out. Shout out, Daddy. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, good morning. Sir Joseph, hello. Shout out. Hello, Q. Hello, Carissa. Hello, shout out.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the Shoreline Sightseeing Architecture River Tour. My name is Richard, and I'm going to be your docent today. Now, I'm about to ask everybody here how you're doing, but before I do that, I want to let you know a little something about myself. One of my pet peeves is when I'm part of a group and somebody says, "How's everybody doing?" And we give our response, and they go, "Well, that's not good enough," or "I couldn't hear you." Rude. That's right. So I'm going to ask everybody here how you're doing, and I want everybody to make a noise. It can be whatever pitch, volume, or timbre you'd like it to be, so long as you feel it is reflective of your current mood. Let's keep it family friendly, folks. All right. I'm not going to make you do it more than once. So, how's everybody doing this morning? Goodness gracious. Full marks, no notes. Thank you for joining me on that journey. Now, I hope that everyone here is ready to travel through time, because ready or not, that's what's happening. At the end of this tour, you will all find yourselves 1 1/4 hour in the future. And it'll only take us 75 minutes to get there. But don't worry, because I'm here to help you fill that time. For those of you that do not know, the word docent comes from the Latin docere, which means to teach. So it's really just a fancy word for teacher. And as your teacher for the next 75 minutes, I'd like to set a goal. I would love it if each and every one of us learns 25 new facts about the city of Chicago and its architecture. Now look, here's the thing. I understand this is a big ask, okay? It's a beautiful Saturday morning. We're doing the type of thing we do on vacation, right? Nobody wants to learn on vacation. But I think there are a couple of important points that we should consider. Number one, there's way more than 25 facts on this tour. All right, I'm going to talk about buildings. I'm going to talk about notable locations. There's also an ample amount of history spread around this tour as well. So I think many of you will learn 25 new things just by accident. The second important point, and I cannot stress this one enough, there is no exam at the end of this tour. All right? So anything you learn is really on the honor system. Your primary responsibility is to enjoy yourselves. I, however, have a lot of facts to deliver and not a lot of time to do it, so I'm going to get started here. The first building I want to tell you about is up here on our right. It's this white building with the clock tower there. That is the Wrigley Building. And if that name sounds familiar, that's because it's the same Wrigley as Wrigley Field and Wrigley Chewing Gum. The Wrigley Building was opened in 1924 and is designed in a style called Spanish Revival. We'll actually see a couple of revival styles of architecture over the course of the tour. And that's because there was a period of time in American history when we didn't really have an architectural voice of our own. And so we often looked to Europe and to the past for inspiration. In fact, the clock tower there of the Wrigley Building is modeled after the bell tower of the Seville Cathedral in Spain. The Wrigley Building is clad in 250,000 glazed terracotta tiles. They are decorative with a slight gradient drawing the eye upward. They provide a degree of fireproofing, and they are incredibly delicate, so the Wrigley Building has to be washed by hand, which happens annually. Also, if you look up between the two sides of the Wrigley Building there, you can just see that little pedestrian walkway, that pedestrian bridge up there in the building, between the two buildings. That was actually not part of the original construction of the building. That was added after the fact. And it was added because for a long time here in the city of Chicago, there was something called branch banking laws. These laws made it illegal for a bank to have more than one location. There just so happened to be a bank that had offices in the Wrigley Building, but in both sides. So they added that pedestrian walkway there to avoid violating any of those branch banking laws. Now here's the thing. That's not the only loophole we're going to learn about on this tour. This is, after all, a Chicago architecture tour. All right? Now, the next building I want to tell you about is easy to identify because it is helpfully wearing a name tag. It's also on the right side of the river. It is, of course, the Trump International Hotel and Tower. This is the second tallest building in Chicago, and it is an excellent example of contextualism. Contextualist architecture is very much site-specific. It wants to draw inspiration from its surroundings, both natural and constructed. In the case of Trump Tower, the coloring of the building, as well as these sort of wave patterns in the facade here, are inspired by the waterways, specifically the river down below. Additionally, there are 3 setbacks going up the side of the building. Now, architecturally speaking, a setback is when the building goes up, and then goes in, and then goes up again. These setbacks contain patios, and they all correspond with the heights of neighboring buildings. As we come out from under DuSable Bridge, we're going to see that the setback on the lower right here is the same height as the Wrigley Building right next door. So the setback here on the lower right, same height as the Wrigley Building. The second setback up there on the left is the same height as the Jewelers Building, the very ornate domed building up there on the left side of the river. Very square in its construction. Dome at the top there, that is the Jewelers Building. By the way, the Jewelers Building, built in 1926, it actually played the role of Gotham City Courthouse in Batman Begins. It's the first of many movie stars we're going to see on this tour. The third setback up there on the right on Trump Tower is the same height as AMA Plaza, the black box building just around on the other side of Trump Tower. We'll get a better view of that one as we come around the building. Now, Trump International Hotel and Tower was completed in 2009, and it was designed by a man named Adrian Smith. This is a guy who knows a thing or two about tall buildings, as he's the designer of the current world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. And if you're curious how Trump Tower stacks up against the Burj Khalifa, you would literally need to stack it. Two Trump Towers stacked one on top of the other would give you the approximate height of the Burj Khalifa. Just beyond Trump Tower, we've got this black box building here. This is AMA Plaza, completed in 1972. It was designed by a man named Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. He originated the phrase "less is more," and I think that philosophy is very well represented in the largest of his black box modernist buildings. Black box modernism is stark and dark, simple and efficient. We will discuss it later on in the tour, as well as modernism in general. Next up, we're going to talk about these corn cob shaped towers out here on the right. These are part of a complex called Marina City, designed by a man named Bertrand Goldberg. Bertrand Goldberg believed that buildings should reflect nature, and in his words, there are no right angles in nature. And so we have these curvilinear modernist towers. When Marina City was completed in 1968, the downtown area was still largely industrial and quite smelly. So there wasn't a lot of demand for residences in the area. Bertrand Goldberg's solution to this was a city within a city. This apartment complex featured amenities including shops and restaurants, a bowling alley, an ice skating rink, a cinema, which has since become the Chicago House of Blues. There's also, of course, a marina to park your boat, and a garage to park your car, valet only for obvious reasons. There aren't enough suspended tennis balls in the world to give you the confidence to park in that garage. No, thank you. Shifting our attention out to the left side of the river, we're going to highlight a few buildings that I think incorporate time as an interesting architectural quirk, beginning with 77 West Wacker, this Buick building with the white stone out here on the left. This building is designed in a style called Neo-Classical. So to break that down, you've got Neo, which means new, and Classical, which references the architecture of the ancient world, in particular that of the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans. As we come out from beneath the bridge here, you'll be able to look up and see that the top roof of 77 West Wacker looks a lot like the Greek Parthenon. It's very much a giving Greek temple. So the inspiration for 77 West Wacker comes to us from the distant past, where the materials and techniques used were much more common in 1992, when the building was completed. Shifting our attention right next door, we've got this glass building with the cutouts going down the side here. This is 111 West Wacker. And those cutouts represent Chicago's canals and also contain patios, which correspond with the heights of neighboring buildings, in another example of contextualism. But everything below that first patio there was originally part of a different building, the Waterview Tower, before construction was halted following the 2008 financial crisis. So the building was abandoned for quite a while. It was salvaged, though. The stone exterior was replaced with reflective glass, and 34 more floors were added to be completed in 2014. So this building gets its foundation and some of its bones also from the past, from a previous building. And if we move 2 doors down, we've got this blocky building with the columns along the top there. That is the Builders Building. And the side of the building closest to us here was completed in 1927. But the extension out there on the right was completed in the 1980s, 60 years later. You can see, though, how the designers of the extension honored the original intentions of the building without outright copying it, almost like a call and response through time. And so if you've been following along, we've got a spark, a start, and a complete piece of art. All plucked from the past and used by designers to inform their present in what I like to call a quantum collaboration. Now ahead on the river is one of our many fixed Trunnion bastion or Chicago-style bridges, the Wells Street Bridge. Chicago is home to the most movable bridges in North America, at 37 in total. We are number 2 worldwide behind Amsterdam. Both the Wells Street Bridge here and the Lane Street Bridge on the South Branch are double-deck bridges with the top deck serving our L trains, so-called because the platforms are elevated. So if you're visiting from out of town, keep your cameras at the ready. There is no more Chicago photo than catching a train crossing the river. As we pass under the Wells Street Bridge, we're going to take a look out to our right. We're going to talk about a building that's a little bit difficult to see. I apologize in advance. It's enormous. This 2.5 acre facade coming into view on the right belongs to Merchandise Mart. Completed in 1930. It was the largest building in the world until the completion of the Pentagon in 1943. By the way, we will see the bridges going up here a few times, or maybe once or twice over the course of the tour. We do bridge races now on a schedule. During the spring and during the fall, on Wednesday and Saturday mornings, we raise these bridges because in the fall, folks with their sailboats are coming in from the lake. That's what these folks are doing, bringing their boats back in. In the spring, they're heading back out to the lake for a lovely summer out on the lake. So the bridges raise throughout the year. Art Deco, the Merchandise Mart is an excellent example of Art Deco architecture. It's got long vertical lines, the building's practically wearing pinstripes. It's got deep inset windows to enhance the verticality, and it's got geometric ornamentation. You can see the diamond and chevron patterns along the bottom and along the top of the building. Art Deco has come to represent the opulence and optimism of the 1920s. Merchandise Mart takes up 2 city blocks. It has 7.5 miles of hallways, 4.2 million square feet of office space. It has its own stop and up until 2008. It actually had its own zip code. These days, though, it does share with its neighbors, which is very considerate. Now, at this point on the tour, we are making our first approach to Wolf Point. This is the location on the Chicago River where the north, south, and main branches of the river meet. And it is the historic center of the city of Chicago. Chicago was incorporated in 1833 as a wilderness outpost with a population of about 350 people. Over the course of the next 70 years,